So hi, One Thing Noise podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with.
I'm Kenzo Cregan.
All right, some questions to say about his new EP, Nowhere to Hide. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to it so far?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a pretty good response. A lot of people are liking my two of the kind of more funky numbers that I released. The main one being "What You Gonna Do," and the second one being "Summer Clothes." Both of them are very kind of R&B inspired. Both kind of have funky bass lines, and people have been really loving those, especially in the live setting as well, which has been really cool. So it's slightly different direction for me, but it kind of still fits the aesthetic that I'm going for in the indie space. So yeah, no, it's been good so far.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Hell
The
yeah.
EP rocks.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
course.
Thank you.
So is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
Not so much. One of the songs is "Nowhere to Hide," and it was one of those things where, I like to kind of have the EP be named after one of the songs, or vice versa. And I just thought, we had that song title, and it also just, I don't know, I just thought it kind of sounded nice as an EP as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also it kind of ended up fitting, like, what the songs are all about, because a lot of them kind of deal with insecurity um, and sort of looking inward, and then also like from the perspective of outward looking in, people looking at me and me, being insecure with myself too. Um, so it all kind of, that was kind of, I guess, the theme of the EP of like, there's nowhere to hide, so you might as well like embrace, who you are as a person and an artist. So that's kind of created its own meaning in a way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this EP?
Yeah, so I think all the songs actually I co-wrote with other people. I did two of them. The ballad that's at the end of it and "What You Gonna Do" were both co-writes with Don Miggs. Um, and then I co-wrote "Summer Clothes" with a guy named Mike Pappas. And then I did "How Does It Feel" with a guy named Matt Couchois, and I co-wrote "Nowhere to Hide," the title track, with Cameron Olson from the band Weathers,
Love Cameron.
who I'm friends with out here in LA. And yeah, and they all kind of, you know they all kind of worked. All those songs kind of ended up working together, and so yeah, and that's the thing, when I write with other people too, especially those guys, it's very, it is very 50-50, not just on paper. It's also like we're all very melodically sound and lyrically sound, and musically, just, in terms of, instrumentation. uh you for example, Don and I will be in his studio, and he's an incredible musician as well as a writer and producer. And we'll both be sitting with guitars, coming up with chord progressions, or he'll grab a bass or I'll grab a bass, and we'll come with a bass line. Um, and then once we kind of come up with the music and the melody and everything and the arrangement, we'll kind of say, okay, now what do we want to say? Um, and we'll kind of record it as we go along. Uh, and But I have to say, with "What You Gonna Do" specifically with Don, and then with "Summer Clothes," the two funky songs, we, Don and I actually decided to start it out on bass. And then coincidentally, when I went to go write with Mike, when we went to go write "Summer Clothes," he wanted to do the same thing. It wasn't even like they hadn't talked. It wasn't, or I didn't say, oh, well, Don and I did it this way. It was sort of this coincidence. And they both ended up having this kind of similar funky vibe.
Mhm.
And it was something I hadn't actually done that much before, writing straight from a bass line and then laying the chords on top. But it actually really makes sense, because bass is the perfect halfway point from drums and guitar, from percussion to melodic. So I just thought it was actually such a cool way to write, and it really kind of tied the tune together super efficiently as well.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so I'm always really open to all types of processes when writing, because like, and then when I write on my own, it's usually an idea will spark, and then I just kind of lay it down in a voice memo, hum a melody, try to fit the chords under, and then go for the story, and then go from there.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's all types of stuff, man. I think with being creative, you got to keep an open mind, and routines are good, but I think at the same time you can't be afraid to go outside of that, because then you never get to explore outside your comfort level. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
that's
so you said like all of the songs on the EP are co-writes. Like, do you feel like your best work comes out when you're able to kind of bounce your ideas off of someone else?
yeah. I mean, lately it's some of my favorite stuff that I've been writing lately. I mean, it's just it's just kind of a different vibe, and I think it kind of brings out a different sound that I never thought I'd really find in myself, because you end up, it's different experiences as when you work with another type of artist, so, and you're kind of bringing those two different life experiences together to create this one piece of art, and that's kind of cool. um, when I write on my own, I mean, it's very rootsy, because just because of like my classic rock background, and it's great. I loved the stuff, because my first EP was all stuff that I just wrote on my own, and then I worked with a producer on that, and he really did help me kind of tie them together. And he was it's a guy named David Hopkins, and he helped me like kind of. He was like, oh well, let's go to like the minor here, and let's just kind of clean up this bridge and stuff like that. But I sent him the songs I was thinking about doing, and um, that I had just written on my own. And so I do both, and it's great. And um, but yeah, I think co-writing is actually is such a blessing and a privilege. It's so great just to be able to pick someone else's brain, and you end up like educating each other too, because like
Mhm.
um there's I can name so many examples of that. I mean, even like even when I was doing Summer Clothes with Mike was just kind of noodling on the bass, just trying to see if anything sparked, and then I was the one to kind of be like, wait, what did you just play?
Mhm.
We had to stop, and then I had to like, and I played something that I thought I heard, and he was like, okay, that sounds kind of cool. But then he was like, and then it like passed back to him, and he was like, well, just change that second to last note, flatten that, and then it'll sound a little bit funkier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I didn't think of that. So it's like you kind of like, it's just kind of passing the ball back and forth, or passing like, or a weird way. I guess a weird way is like passing the clay, and like, let me make a mold, and I'll give it back to you, and then you make some other mold. Like you
Yeah.
make an arm, I'll make another.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it was great, and I think that's like the really cool thing about co-writing is like you get a sense of, there's like more of a sense of community and a more sense of you just kind of, yeah, and just a form, and it's a form of education too. You really get to learn from someone else's experience and someone else's skill set, and apply it to your own. So I think that's really great.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell us your favorite lyric off this EP and what it means to you.
Favorite lyric off of this EP.
Yes.
Here, I mean, I should just think about those for a sec. Oh, you know what it is? Actually, it's I love the second verse in What You Gonna Do. Um, it's really fun how and it's also the way I go into it. I say, drank my blood, spat it out, don't know what she's on about. I think that was like a catchy little rhyme scheme, and it was kind
Yeah.
of, it's like slightly gory and slightly like, oh, like it's a little bit like off-putting, but
Mhm.
it's a little bit absurd. And that was kind of what I like about that. So that lyric,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
probably my favorite lyric. No, sorry,
That's perfect.
I was a little bit put on the spot for a second, which I respect, by the way, so I appreciate that.
Of course.
No, that's probably my favorite lyric for sure
All
off
right.
that.
Good pick.
It's a good pick.
Good
Yeah.
pick.
So where was your headspace at while you're writing the CP?
Well, it was kind of in different places at different times because just based on the different sessions and everything, 'cause it was like kind of multiple sessions. And yeah, my head's. I mean, I was going through a bit of a breakup, so there was a bit of that. Summer Clothes was about a breakup was about that breakup in particular, and actually Mike and I were both going through a breakup at the same time. So we were both kind of. So I guess it's about two different women,
At the
which is
same
funny,
time.
which is great. And so yeah, I think we were sort of, I was definitely in a little bit of a dark place, kind of just a little sad and kind of trying to like, get my confidence back. Um, and I would say that was like the general state of mind I was in, and I definitely needed those sessions. I definitely needed to like just be in the studio, be with some really kind and talented people. Um, and yeah, it was really nice, and also working with Matt too. Just to mention him again, was fantastic, um, and how does it feel? Doing how does it feel was really cool. And yeah, it was definitely a very healing process for sure, making that EP for me. So yeah,
That's good. That's good.
yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should they play it in the car with friends, dark with headphones on? Should they blast at a party, work out to it? What do you personally recommend? I'm very excited to hear what you
Yeah,
have to
I
say.
mean, I've always thought that most of my music is great for a drive. Like, if you want to
Mhm.
just hop in the car and just blast it, like just top to front off of your Spotify. I mean, all the cars now, so many cars have the Apple CarPlay and stuff, right? So you
Yeah.
can kind of like plug your phone in, put Spotify on, go to the EP, type in Kenzo Cregan, Nowhere to Hide, or Apple. Yeah, it's on Apple Music everywhere. I guess
Mhm.
it's on uh Tidal too. It's probably on some. I've heard people are listening to Tidal, so I know it's out
Whoever uses
everywhere.
that.
Yeah, whoever uses that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I would recommend probably a drive while you're driving. I think it's good. It's good driving music for sure.
That's good.
100%.
I'm sorry I have to put you on the spot again, but this question is going to be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe the CP for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
In 3 words.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Funky,
Okay.
emotional,
Okay.
uplifting, I would
That's good.
say. Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
So, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want this EP to invoke in your listeners?
Let's see. Man, I feel like just one type of like a certain feeling you said.
Yeah, if any.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess for me, I just know that like my music, I definitely want it to inspire people, and I want it to like for me, I know that when I play music and especially when I perform live and when I write, like I want to be as genuine as possible, and I always feel like I'm being my most genuine self when making art, like even. And I try to be that as a person and as a man in general, but it comes out the easiest when I'm on stage in the studio, like playing or writing. And so for me, like I would say I'd want people to, listen to my music, and that includes the EP, this most recent one, to just kind of have it be inspired to be their most genuine selves, because that's to me is important. And the
Oh,
world
yeah.
lacks that.
Love
So
that.
yeah.
So, what is your favorite memory that you made while creating the CP?
Um. Oh yeah. It's kind of just a fun one. I was in the studio with Mike because Mike is friends with Don. We actually got to record the rest of the song at Don's studio here in LA, and it was just me and him finishing up all the guitar tracks and vocal tracks and everything. Um, and Don has this really cool Fender Rhodes that he got. It's all sparkly and stuff too. I don't I it's and I'm pretty sure it's a vintage one.
Mm.
And I'm only okay at piano and keys and stuff, but I'll play synths and stuff on my records a lot of the time, and I can come up with parts and things. And luckily, the chords to Summer Clothes isn't super. They're not super difficult. There's minor sevens and things like, but I was like, hey man, like, can I just go for it? Can I just like try to play the Rhodes? It's so cool. It's like the way it was placed in the live room and the way I don't know, and it sounded so good when I played it. Like the not because I'm amazing at Rhodes, but or at piano, but it's just a great sounding instrument.
Mm.
And I just remember doing it, and I was like, oh, okay, shit, like it's actually kind of working. Like and it made the recording, and it made the take made the EP, and it's pretty present. You'll hear it come in, I think, in I want to say verse two. You'll hear some Fender Rhodes, and I was really proud of myself for um, just kind of going for it and being brave enough to play an instrument that I'm just kind of okay at. So
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
sick that it made the EP too.
yeah,
Mhm.
I was like, Mike, is that okay? Like, is that keepable? And he was like, yeah, actually sounds kind of cool. And I'm just
So
kind of playing triads. I'm not really doing any crazy voicings.
it
You know,
was the first take that made it.
it wasn't. I don't know if it was the first one, but it was like it wasn't. It didn't take too many takes. The point was I was just saying that like one of the takes I did
Mhm.
actually, it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
I played it well enough where it worked.
Mhm.
Because I'm not, I don't know, like so many great piano players can add more interesting voicings chord wise, and I don't have the dexterity yet to do a lot of that, but
Mhm.
at least to play it kind of with like a good flow. And
Mhm.
so I just kind of kept it simple, and it just ended up working. And so call it luck, call it skill, whatever. I don't know. It was great. I was very happy with it. So that was a good memory. I was stoked on that. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Perfect. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. You're going in. What is your snack of choice?
Oh man. Well, it all depends, but I will say because I we go to all different types of gas stations. Shout out to Bucky's, shout out to Love's, Wawa,
There
Sheets
you
in
go.
Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly like, yeah, I loved the Wawa hoagies.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but not all Wawas are at gas stations. That's the only thing. So I know sometimes they're standalone places. I think
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's crazy. I've never seen that before. It's always like with a gas station.
Most of them
Yeah,
nowadays have gas stations, but there are a handful still. Like there's one right down the road from me that's just a
oh,
standalone,
right.
no gas
Yeah,
station.
God.
right. So
Ugh.
a Wawa hoagie is always great.
Mhm.
You know, the I don't really usually eat food at Bucky's, but we always go to Bucky's to kind of just hang out and get merch. That's usually what we do.
Yeah.
We get the Bucky's merch. But yeah, food wise, a Wawa hoagie just takes the cake for sure.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So on the topic of food, if your project was a dish, what dish would it be and why?
Oh man. I think it would probably be a three taco combo platter. It
Okay.
would be and I say that because the band when I the live band that I have when I take it on the road,
Mhm.
we're all a bit of a different cast of characters, um, and I kind of like that about us, even though because obviously like it's pretty important to have some kind of cohesive image, whatever. But I kind of like that we do have that, but I also love having my guys be themselves and not like we're not all like wearing the same outfit. We're not doing that kind of thing. Like I want them to express their fashion sense and um or be as quirky as they want and I mean my bass player wears like a bathrobe on stage. It's like his signature and the keyboard player wears this cool like straw top hat and then I'll try to wear something that's just kind of cool and the drummer is just kind of this cool, Bay Area kid like who just like kills it on drums. And you and I mean, it's just sort of like so. Um, I'm sorry, I kind of forgot the question. I kind of got lost in that.
You're
What this
great.
your
It was making
project would be?
Oh yes. So my point is like a taco combo plate, like but like with three different types of tacos. It would be like al pastor, birria, and chicken, or whatever. So it would be like three different types of tacos with the beans and the rice because you have like these different flavors, but it all kind of gives you that same sense of satisfaction. So that's why that's what the project would be.
That's good.
100%.
All right.
Love it.
Glad
Yeah.
we wrapped it all together.
I appreciate you being patient with my long-winded answers too.
That's okay. It's a podcast, man.
Sweet.
Talk away.
Okay, word.
So for these last couple questions, we're actually going to shift away from music, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
6. We're actually going to go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
It would be in between like just being again from Southern California, we love our Mexican food. So it would be some kind of either like an al pastor burrito from like Leo's Tacos, with the beans and rice, or like the three taco plate. I'm honestly the three taco combo plate would be so bomb with the traditional beans and rice. I mean, I just it would just be so good. I'll just commit to that, even though I was going to go a different direction too. But yeah, I'll go with that. I'll just keep it consistent.
Exactly. Got to stick with the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you could live in one fiction world for a week, where would you live?
You said fiction world?
Yes.
Fictional world, yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna be super nerdy and say a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars. I mean, I think being a Jedi would be pretty epic, and using the Force and all that, being Force sensitive, that would be like unreal.
Be pretty sick.
Yeah. Lightsabers, the whole thing, like just hopping on a spaceship and going to the next planet, like absolutely.
Make sure you choose like the right era though, because if you choose like a bad era, then it's like everybody's gonna be out to get you.
Yeah, yeah.
Before
the Republic, before the Empire.
Yeah,
Pre-Empire. Yeah. When it's like Jedi's are everywhere and we're all hanging out.
And you're all happy and nobody's being hunted. It's good.
Exactly. Just training, meditating, and using the Force, and just keeping peace throughout the galaxy.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah. Hell yeah. That's a great question. Thank you for that.
Of course. So I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to has actually said it is the most important question.
Okay.
What is your favorite color?
My favorite color, I would say it's blue, specifically like more of the navy blue, kind of darker blue. Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. I just think there's something about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
So as Glory said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
I would just say like my Instagram and my TikTok. I'm still getting better at my TikTok stuff, but I have some funny videos up there. I have a couple videos called British and California Kenzo because I am a dual citizen with Great Britain. My father's British, so I did these little skits of me being my British version and me being my California version. And we're kind of there's different episodes of us bickering with each other. And so I'm planning on making more of those. It's just coming up with the ideas for them, I came up with 3 or 4 great ones, and then I like had a bit of a mind block, a creative block with it. But yeah, hit me up. It's just Kenzo Cregan, Kenzo Cregan, all one word, on TikTok and Instagram. And I mean, I think my content's pretty interesting. It's not as everyday as it should be, but it's there. There's a lot of cool stuff you can check out, and just hit me up. I like, just hit me up, say hello, and I can send you music and let you know like when shows are happening, and be great just to hear from people. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for sound. This has been Kenzo Cregan, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.